I'm like, we had a purse bid, right? And I lost the purse bid, so is what it is. It's happened before. But then I'm like getting tweets going, why aren't you talking about the fight? It's like, it's not my fight. I lost the purse bid. What do you want me to say? Do you know what I mean? So I'm here to answer any questions, and I'm sure you've got loads. But like, it's funny how I don't read social as much as I used to. I was just going through going, why the silence? It's like, it's the weekend. I've not got a show. I'm just chilling out. Like, what do you want me to say?
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about it. Were you shocked? That was massive offers from both of you.
If you would have watched my interviews from before the purse bid, it's pretty straightforward what happens. If you've got 80% of the pot, you do a deal with your fighter, the lion's share, for how much he's going to get, and then what you're bidding ultimately doesn't matter. Does that make sense to you? So say that Tyson Fury took $25 million.
Okay.
The bids are actually the same. But on an actual bid, Tyson Fury will get $34 million. He ain't getting $34 million because they'd already done a deal. So it doesn't, it's still big money, massive money. What we bid's big money. But the actual bid is not the actual bid. Unless they want to tell me it is, and then, that can go down in a record. But this is not, by the way, that's not illegal, unusual, anything. It's just what you do. I've done it before myself. You don't want to lose control of a fight. So you say to your fighter, look, we can keep control of the fight. Are you happy with this purse? And whatever you bid over and above that, Dillian only gets 20%.
What's good, family? Shout out to my General Gareth Roberts for sending in them coins and boosting up your man the YB's gyro. No doubt. So we just heard there from your mans, Eddie, down bad, Hearn, breaking his silence after going missing. Listen, I'm just glad, truth be known, I'm just glad that Eddie Hearn's family have got him home safe. That's all I can say, because what we know is on Sunday I put a video out begging Hearn, saying, listen Hearn, please get home to your family. Yeah, your wife and kids are missing you. You're gone off the map. You're MIA. Yeah? I had Miss Hearn on the blower ringing my line. YB, where's Hearn? Where's he at? Put a video out. We can't find him. We're worried about him. Yeah? I've never seen Hearn so quiet. I've never seen Eddie missing and so quiet for so many days. Mr. Big Mouth, Mr. Apples and Pears gone missing. It's mad. But like I said, I'm just glad. Ultimately, yeah, I can come on here and we can all kind of put an elbow in at the fact that Hearn gassed the place up about we're going to do this and we're going to do that, and he didn't do nothing. But listen, like I said, ultimately I'm just happy that Hearn got home and is safe. That's what really matters, Eddie, yeah? All this other boxing and stuff, it don't really matter. What's important is you're home, you're healthy, and you're safe. Yeah, 100%. Anyway, on to what he had to say. Because, listen, the pleasantries end there, I'm afraid, Mr. Downbad Hearn. Because you're gassing the place up now. And, by the way, when you watch the full form interview, anyone who wants to check it out, obviously, it's on Michelle, the Fire Phelps' channel. She fire right now, 100% she fire. Yeah, I need some coins, man. Listen, what was I going to say? Yeah, so obviously, the full interview's on Michelle the Fire Phelps' channel. But when you watch the full interview, I don't care what no one says. It's apparent, yeah. Hearn has been watching the YB video 100%. Because Hearn, and that's the thing. One thing I don't rate about these cats, yeah. One thing I don't rate about Anthony Johnston and Eddie Hearn. They're always trying to be indirect. Oh, people on social media were saying I was missing. No one would say you were missing apart from the YB. Let's get it straight now. No one put the missing narrative out there apart from me. That's a fact. So why are you always trying to beat around the bush here? Yeah? Why are you trying to hog the limelight? Be honest. Tell the truth. The truth is, the YB aired me out for being missing from social media for a week. Yeah? Be honest. What's all this? My name's Eddie Hearn and my name's Anthony Johnston, and I want to hog all the limelight for myself. I want to hog all the girls for my... Do you know what I mean? These guys, man, stush looking guys. You man are what we call stush. Yeah, don't want to share no, don't want to share no light and don't want to share no females. Stush looking asses, yeah. What's wrong with you, man? But like I said, listen. Bottom line is Eddie Hearn. He saw my video, and it's interesting. Again, when you watch the full interview, he says things like, people don't realise how difficult it is. I put interviews out there, and I don't edit my interviews, so sometimes I say things wrong. Again, who was the only guy to clip Eddie Hearn's old interviews and air him out for being gassed? And I don't rate it. For example, if someone throws shots at me, yeah, I'm not stush. I'm happy to share the light. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not one of them ones. But these top crust cats, these top crust cats, yeah, they get too used to being top of the pyramid. You see, they're used to everyone. Eddie Hearn's used to everyone running around all day saying, "Eddie, I need you for this. Eddie, I need you for that." And then when they get too gassed, you see, they start feeling like the universe revolves around them. Yeah, they start feeling like they can't share no light on no one. They can't shine no light. Do you know what I'm saying? But listen, the bottom line is, when the YB got his foot on your neck, the YB's got his foot on your neck. We can all play this game of beating around the bush. Oh, well, yeah, people on social media. No, the YB had his foot on your neck this weekend, Eddie. That's what it was. Yeah? But anyway, let's get back to the actual, now I've got that out of the way. Let's get to the meat and let's get to the apples and pears of this situation, because what you notice is people like Michelle the Fire Phelps. Now, obviously, as I've explained, she fire, no doubt about that, yeah, but Michelle the Fire Phelps, Coogan, Shilligan Cassius, all these kind of cats, yeah, they have been on Eddie Hearn's payroll. They're all on the MTK payroll. They're all on the Eddie Hearn payroll. They all get weekly stipends. That's how these guys afford to fly around. I'm not so sure about now, but certainly in the early days, IFL TV were on a 500 quid a week bill from Hearn, plus travel, plus hotels, plus flights, etc., etc. So I get it. They're only doing what their situation allows. Yeah? When you're a kept YouTuber, like Coogan, like Shilligan Cassius, or like Michelle the Fire Phelps, when your bills are being paid by Eddie and by Frank or by MTK, it's difficult to criticise the daddy, yeah? It's difficult to criticise, yeah, bottom line, the man who's paying your bills. It's difficult to criticise that cat. But luckily, we got the YB here. Because what these guys they never seem to go any deeper. They never seem to dig a little deeper, so don't worry, but we can do it now. So the first thing Hearn says regarding his massive Fury versus Whyte flop, he says, "What do you want me to say? People have been criticising me for not speaking on this situation over the last week. People have been saying I'm missing. In fact, scrap that. Eddie Hearn meant to say, YB's been criticising me for going missing. But what was I supposed to say? I lost the purse bid." So Hearn's implying that, well, I've got nothing to comment because I lost the purse bid. No, the reason the YB want you to comment is the fact that before the fight, as I pointed out in my last video on this topic, before the fight you was gassing a thing up, talking about, well, the thing is, if we don't get more than 20%, we'll just go to purse bids and I'm going to go to bat for my man Dillian. That's to be fair, Eddie. I've said before, if your beak isn't out, yeah, if you haven't wound your beak out, no one's got a problem. But what we can't do is have your beak out there and just chatting and just moving up and down. No, what have I lied? I've never seen Eddie Hearn's beak move up and down so plentifully. It was just moving. I was like, damn, what kind of beak is that? Where they making that beak at? That beak was just running. We're going to do this for Shillian. We're going to do that for Shillian. Shillian. You was talking proper with that ruthless energy. That's why we was confused, because whenever someone goes from ruthless energy to missing, that's worrying. Yeah, that's when I've got your wife and your kids on the line asking me to, where's he at? Where's he gone? Because 1 minute, I mean, your family's asking questions as well. Your family's saying, YB, wait there a minute, we saw the videos too. We saw his beak going up and down doing the most, but how has his beak gone from moving that viciously to missing, to saying nothing? Do you understand? That's the problem people have, Eddie. You were going to do this for Dillian. You was going to do that for Dillian. And then you go missing. You could have, for example, yeah, I wouldn't have said nothing if you'd have come out a week before the purse bid and said, the truth is, people, we'll do our best, but, I mean, we're not holding our breath. You didn't do that, though. You were saying we're gonna go to Perth. You was no word of a lie. Eddie Hearn was threatening purse bids. When you threaten someone, if the offers aren't substantial, we'll just go to purse bid. That's the kind of thing he was saying. Like he was gonna do something. Do you understand? So it's nothing to do with us. Me and your family can't work out how it went from threatening Team Fury with purse bids to going missing. Them kind of movements don't add up where I come from. That's the first thing. Next thing anyway. Eddie Hearn says, and this was, I mentioned this last week, but the truth is, he set the scene for this. Yeah? A week before the purse bid, he was giving it real bad energy. He was giving it real aggressive energy about how hard he was going to bat for Shillian, yeah? Then, about a day before the purse bid, Eddie Hearn changed stance all of a sudden and started wheeling out this conspiracy. Talking about, well, actually, now we're actually at the day of the purse bid. We're going to do our best. And that's the thing. That's what I didn't rate, and I called it out at the time. Eddie Hearn went from being real aggressive to the day of the purse bid, talking about, well, we'll do our best, but, we have lost them in the past, and I was like, what? What happened to all that threatening energy you had before? Yeah? And I knew this was going to happen, that's why I called it out. I knew Eddie Hearn wasn't going to do nothing for Dillian, because he hasn't done it himself. In the AJ fight, back in 2019, Dillian Whyte was offered like $4 million. Ruiz got like 8. So that shows you Eddie Hearn don't value Shillian a lick. Yeah? And that's the bottom line. But anyway, like I was saying. So Eddie Hearn, rather than swallowing his pride and just saying to the people, truth is, people, I gassed you up. I overplayed my hand. And we're probably going to lose this purse bid. Rather than do that, Eddie Hearn wheeled out a conspiracy. He said, well, if we don't win the purse bid, it will be because Frank Warren and Bob Arum and the Cabal and Tyson Fury, they got this special deal where they'll put a big figure out there, but it won't be a real figure, it will be a fake figure, and apples and pears, and I got a car to sell you, it's got a dodgy motor. Do you know what I mean? He started going on all that kind of stuff. I was like, what? Huh? And that's what you heard again today. You hear him, oh, well, it wasn't a real bid. So wait there. Before the fight, you was going to bid loads. Now after the fight, well, yeah, they won, but they didn't really win. And even at one point, he starts saying, well, no, did you know, Tyson Fury only really got paid 25 million, not 32, not 34. He only got paid 25, and Tyson Fury getting paid 25 means that his offer's actually the same as ours. What? So even when Eddie Hearn takes a raging loss, he's still trying to convert it into a dub. Now, what I believe this says more about Eddie than it does Team Fury, in as much as I believe Eddie Hearn has just explained things he does. I'm not sure Team Fury are doing that. Now, obviously, all the Dillian Whyte fans, all the Eddie Hearn fans are going to call me a sellout now and a turncoat, but I'm going to tell you why I don't believe the principle Eddie Hearn's explained here about, oh no, there's another backroom deal going on. The reason I don't believe that is because look at the history here. What do we know about Eddie Hearn and Dillian Whyte? Eddie Hearn and Dillian Whyte have a history of doing this kind of thing. Don't forget, what happened last time in the Povetkin fight? What did Eddie Hearn and Dillian do? They lodged allegedly low purses, 300k purses with the WBC, trying to be smart, trying to shaft the taxman essentially. So that shows you Eddie Hearn's got previous, yeah, he's got previous convictions for being a shyster. So and Eddie Hearn himself even admits he's done that in the past to keep control. So yeah, will Eddie Hearn do all these funny style things? Absolutely. However, there's no evidence Team Fury are doing that crap. Team Fury posted 20 million in the last fight against Wilder. Oops. So I'm sorry, until I hear it from Frank Warren that they've been doing that, I can't take Eddie Hearn's word for it. I just can't. Because Eddie Hearn's the only person who's got previous for doing them weird transactions where he's trying to disclose lower numbers. I'm going to assume Frank Warren, ESPN, because I'm sorry, it just doesn't look good. Publicly, when you've got a public purse bid and you're making backroom deals to manipulate the big figure, Eddie Hearn says it's obviously, I'm not saying it's criminal, but I'm not sure how the regulators or whoever feel about that. I don't know. This doesn't seem right to me. Manipulating a purse bid so that you can win, that just seems odd. That doesn't seem fair, does it? Just because you've got the whole point of the thing is as well, the whole point of a purse bid is for it to go to the highest bidder. Not for people to manipulate it and do backroom deals. I don't mean, I'm sorry. Again, I'm not saying it's criminal, but I don't know about how, Eddie, I know everyone's allowed to do it, are they? Who told you that? It sounds dodgy to me. The same way it sounded dodgy when you said, do you really think Dillian Whyte got paid 300 grand? Well, if he didn't, why didn't you disclose the full number? Oops. Like everyone else does. So yeah, overall, these are the kind of questions that should have been put to Eddie. And really the bottom line takeaway question is, Eddie, all we want to know is what happened to you going to bat for Shillian? What happened to that? And I can't lie to you, I do think of all the money, DAZN has wasted. This should have been one of them fights here where they turned up. And this bid was actually very low. Do you want me to give you some examples of how we know it's low? Well, for starters, AJ versus Ruiz. AJ's purse was like $32 million. Andy Ruiz's was 8 on top of that. It ended up being $40 million. So, that in itself, that fight, Ruiz versus AJ was a $40 million fight. And that is nowhere near the size of Fury and Whyte, in my opinion. Now, I do get it in terms of America, but AJ wasn't known in America at all. And neither was Ruiz at the time. So given the fact that Fury's just had 3 big pay-per-views and is a pretty big star in the US now, relatively speaking, Dillian Whyte, yeah, he's not a big star, but he's bigger than Ruiz was, in my opinion. Now, obviously, Ruiz now, having been champion, it's a different story, but then Dillian Whyte is bigger in the US now, I believe, than Ruiz was then. So if DAZN can bid $40 million on AJ versus Ruiz, you'd think they'd at least do that for this fight. Again, look at Alvarez fights. Now, to be fair, Alvarez fights is different. He has the whole American and Mexican thing down pat. But still, DAZN were paying Alvarez $30 million a pop for his fights against bums. When Alvarez was fighting these random bums, he was getting paid 30. I forgot the guy's name, the Turkish Don. He got paid 30 mil. So I'm thinking, wait there a minute. You have a genuine big fight. Don't forget as well that this is your opportunity to launch your pay-per-view platform. All them fights here, where AJ was getting paid ridiculous money to lose, they weren't on pay-per-view. You was trying to build your subscription platform, which meant it was all risk for you. DAZN had been looking for a way to launch their pay-per-view platform. This was the perfect opportunity to kick that off. And don't forget, DAZN have just launched in the UK as well. What a better way to launch number 1, pay-per-view, and number 2, the UK platform. Perfect. So if all the bum fights they've overpaid on, you'd think, well, let's overpay on one more. Because we know, the chances are AJ's finished. So why would you want to throw away this opportunity, given you've wasted a whole lot of money? But I think this shows that DAZN aren't impressed with Eddie Hearn. They're not impressed with the value he's brought. He's wasted a load of money, bottom line, which is true. And I think, to be fair, Eddie has been more interested in lining his own pockets, which is fair enough, but that's what's happened here, I believe. I believe Eddie, bear in mind as well, people, Eddie advises Alvarez. He advises AJ, which means that when he's paying AJ these ridiculous figures to lose, he's getting a split of that. So it's a way for Eddie to funnel money from DAZN into his own pocket. Now, unfortunately, that is a short-sighted business plan, because now, obviously, Eddie's raided the bank. He's made a whole bunch of bank. He's not going to be hurting, but in the long term, it's meant that now he's losing these big fights like this. Because now DAZN have looked at the numbers and thought, wait a minute, we've given you all this money, you've blown it all, you've brought no real value in, and we can't carry on wasting money. And the sad thing is, this should have been the fight they actually went hard on. Because like I said, the thing about the pay-per-view platform is, pay-per-views generally pay for themselves and the rest. So this really wasn't a risk. If they'd have bid 50 million on this, for example, you've only got to sell, not only, but you've got to sell, think about it, if you sell what? 300k pay-per-views in the US, that's, do it at $100, 300k, that's 30 million. You're probably going to sell another, this could be bear in mind, AJ and Ruiz did 2 million, I think this could do 2 million. And I think it should be, honestly, I think it should be $30, $40, or 30, 40 quid, I really do, for this fight. That's what, I mean, I'm not going to pay it, but I think that should be what the going rate is, truth be known, for this fight. For mega fights like this, that's, I believe, what it should be. So when you work the numbers out, DAZN would have actually bid in 50 million. I reckon it's not a bad play with pay-per-view. And for all them other fights you burnt your holes in your pocket with, it's just a bad look. But anyway, man, it is what it is.